Bruh, did you see that last page? Did you see that last page?
You don't know how to use your power. Let me show you.
What's up, y'all? We back at it with another chapter of Kagurabachi, Chapter 74. And damn, yo, this chapter was crazy, man. Hey, yo, the Sword Master is to be feared. The Sword Master is to be feared. I hope eventually, like we got an understanding of what happened on the other island, but I hope we get a couple of chapters of just seeing him go on a rampage, seeing what he was doing, everything he was capable of. We got a glimpse of it in the past few chapters, but I want to see the whole entire thing. I want that to be an arc in itself. And the fact that your boy Yura thinks that he's going to be able to take this guy down, I think he's going to still be a threat without his enchanted blade. I think he's still going to have the ability to use the powers or a limited version of his powers even without possession of the enchanted blade. At least that's what I'm predicting. And I feel like Yura is going to be surprised when he gets to the Sword Master and try to take him out. Like, yo, this dude power is insane. They say in this chapter that the flowers that bloomed from his enchanted blade still remains on the island. His power is still active right now on the island, which is insane. It really makes me wonder if when you know what I'm saying, your boy Hakari, father used this enchanted blade during that summit. I wonder if the flowers that he produced on the ground, I wonder if they're still there, if they still remain as well. I mean, granted, it's a good chance they could have disappeared, seeing how, you know, old boy father did it as opposed to the Sword Master. But the Sword Master will was still at play. So I'm very curious if those flowers remained as well. Man, that had to be a devastating battle. I feel like the little glimpses that we got in the past few chapters isn't even the top of the iceberg when it comes to what happened on that island. If it's enough to make Samura says like, yo, I would gladly sacrifice my life to take this threat from the world, it's insane to me. But here's what's wrong with Samura's plan. He's planning on destroying the Hisoku group, once he takes down the Sword Master. But once the Sword Master dies, Samura dies as well because they're all linked together. If the foundation, which is the Sword Master, die, all the other bearers would die too. Now, I don't know if it's an instant death or if it's something that would take time to happen. Like maybe they got a day to live, an hour to live, a few seconds to live, or maybe a minute to live. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, and that might be the case. He might says like, yo, once I kill the Sword Master, I only need this much time to take care of the Ahsoka group to keep them from doing evil as well. Maybe that's the case, but at the same time, he would need to destroy those enchanted blades to make sure the world is safe. I don't know, that's just my thoughts on it. I'm sorry, man, this chapter was just goated. It has so many amazing moments from Samura, from, Yura, the Sword Master, Chihiro, as well as your boy Hiko. And then the only person we didn't see in this chapter really that I'm very curious to see is Kaguri. We ain't see him in this chapter. We know he's in the midst of the battle, but I'm curious to see him as well. But you also have it where you find out even more about Oori and how she trained. She constantly kept training after she was separated from her father before she lost her memory, in hopes that she would become strong enough where her father wouldn't have to suffer anymore. She continued to get stronger in hopes that her father could be near her and won't feel like he's a burden to her, because now she has the strength to fight for herself. And like her story is sad. It's not as sad as Char. I feel like Char has probably the saddest backstory in the series right now. Don't get me wrong, Chihiro's backstory is sad too, but I feel like Char, with her being tortured, her mom being taken out, her always being, used by other people for her healing ability, I feel like she has the worst backstory. But Iori's ain't too far from Char's. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know, I guess Chihiro's would be next, and then Oori would be third, as far as like the worst backstory. But you guys, we about to get into this chapter. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. I would greatly appreciate it. Trying to get this to 100 likes, and you guys can make it happen. So let's get to it. So you got it where Samura finds out, the chapter starts off with Samura finding out that Chihiro father has been slain. You got it where they saying like, yo, we're coming to grab you as well as the rest of the sword bearers to put you in, protective custody. And you got it where Samura gets off the phone, he turns around, and you have it where Yura is there, and you find out that, they actually sent people to escort him to this protective company, but Yura takes him out instantly. It looks like these guys didn't stand a chance. And then he's just walking there, like, working on his cufflinks. Like, are you kidding me? You just took out 2 elite soldiers and you're working on your cufflinks? And you got it with Samurai right off the bat. He says it like, yo, you're the one who killed, Chihiro's father. He doesn't even deny it. He said, yeah, we did. I'm part of a group. We're called the Hisuku. Yeah, we did it. And I want you to know our plans. Our plans is to obtain, to take out the sword master and use that sword to stop this destruction that's supposed to befall upon this land. Now, with them saying that, I'm very curious why is he so eager to actually take down the sword master? I know he knows about this future path, but I'm assuming he's from that island. Still, deep down, I still think he's from that island. And I'm curious why he wants to spare these people. I feel like that's something he would want to happen, unless he wants to be the one to destroy this city with his own hands for what they did to his homeland. Now I could be wrong. He may not be from that homeland, but I still deep down believe, your boy Yura as well as the rest of his group is from that island. I just feel like, they're from that island. We'll find out as the story go on. But that's when you have Yura explaining like, yo, the effects of the enchanted blade that the sword master possesses is still in effect till this day. If you go to that island, you'll see flowers that bloom from his ability, and they still wreaking havoc. So I'm wondering if it's one of those situations like, if you stepped on that island, you would be killed instantly by the effects of his blade. Like, that's his domain. And I could see the sword master actually getting free at some point, retreating to that island, and then that's when the final arc is going to be everyone going to this island, facing the dangers and horrors that he created on that island to actually get to the sword master to stop him. I could see something like that going down. I could be completely wrong, but I could see something like that going down. And you got it where Yura is talking to Samura. He lets him know that they did kill one of the sword bearers already. Of course, that's the person who possessed the cloud, which I hope we get to see that whole battle in a flashback with that previous user before Sojo actually got it. And I wonder if Sojo had anything to do with that battle as well. Did he create an opening for the guy to be taken out, or was he just, in a whole nother location? Very curious about that. But yeah, we know they took out the guy who owned the cloud, and I'm curious if Yura actually tried to, get him on his side the same way he's trying to get Samura on his side. But, you got it where Samura says like, yo, what makes you think I'll work with you? He said, I know you'll work with me, so there's no need for me to even attack and kill you. I know the type of person you is. And I imagine that Yura must have been studying Samura for quite some time to know how his mind works, to know that he would be the one that he needs to work with in order to accomplish his goals. He had to be hiding in the shadows. But the crazy thing is, when it comes to Samura, he's very aware of his surroundings. So it makes you wonder, how is he getting this intel? And that's what leads me to believe the traitor in the organization that gave away the location to Chihiro and his father is the sister. I can't remember if it was the sister of Samura or the sister of the wife, but I know they had a sister that worked within the organization, and I think that person may have gave away all the information because they wanted Samura to be free. They ain't do it for, to be malicious or anything like that. They gave the information away because they wanted Samura to be free from his burden. They wanted the shackles to be lifted off of him. That's just my take on the matter. We're going to find out at some point, but we do know it's a mystery person within the organization. We speculated it being a Shiba. Some of us speculated it being a Zume. I don't think it's any of those two. There were times where I thought that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to make it seem like I never thought that. But I'm really leaning towards it being the sister. But you got it where your boy Yura says like, yo, I see your daughter is no longer here. We was going to use her as well as some type of leverage to take down the sword master. So of course we find out that shortly after Chihiro's father died, that's when the ninjas and stuff, bodyguards start appearing, in front of Iori, watching over her. And then shortly after that, 3 years after that, that's when they brought her to this temple to erase her memory. So within that 3-year span, that means she was constantly training to make herself strong enough to stand by her father's side and ease the burden and the pain that her father was going through. That means she had 3 years of training plus the training she had with her father beforehand, which shows that Iori, she's well skilled. She's very skilled. And she says, like, being the daughter of Samura, she had to deal with slander. She had to deal with violence. She had to deal with a lot, and she felt like she was a prisoner. But because she was with her father, it was all worth it. And she got to see her mother's last smile. So for her, all the stuff she went through doesn't even matter because of what she got to, the fact that she got to see her mother's last smile and she got to be with her father. And then you see her opening up a letter, sorry about everything she done from her father, sorry about all the pain she's caused. Next thing you know, you got it where it jumps back to present day. You see all her memories rushing in, and you got it where the ninjas as well as Chihiro and everybody is fighting against, Hiko as well as Todo. She's there as well. Kaguri is there, but they didn't show him in any other panels. If they did, maybe I missed it. But you got it where Todo instantly grabs Hiko and they teleport to another location. Well, a higher up location. Now, it seems like that fire teleportation is an ability that everyone has. I imagine that has something to do with the symbols on their hand. It might be someone else's spell, but all of them are able to utilize it because they have the markings. That's just my theory on that. I could be wrong, but of course you got it where, Hiko is asking Todo for his enchanted blade. He's like, give me the enchanted blade. The wound that Chihiro just gave me was very shallow. The sword took most of the blow. So I'm like, this dude about to pull out his enchanted blade. You got it where, Todo instantly tell the dude, like, I don't think you want to do that, bruh. Samura will be here if you do that. And he's like, hey man, nah, Chihiro's about to grab his sword, man. Look, I gotta do it. And of course, while all this is going on, you got the commotion going on. Iori saying, like, to her friend, what's his name, Ikura, like, thank you for coming. So I feel like I'm curious how his role is going to be going forward when it comes to Iori. Are they going to be friends, or is he going to be in the story even more? Is he even going to join Chihiro and his gang and learn some more training methods? Like I said, he does remind me of Kenten, from Don to Don. But you got it where Iori starts slashing up the people coming after her, as well as Chihiro doing the same thing. And then you got it where Chihiro asks her, like, Mr. Samura trained you how to use the sword? She was like, this is my first time with a real blade, but yes. And she was like, I'm good as long as my eyes are closed. I don't have to worry about seeing the blood. And that's when she goes to explain that she's been training this whole time to get stronger, so that she can protect her father. So maybe he would stay with her, even though we know he chose to leave. So then you have it where she looks up to the sky. She says, my dad, he's watching us right here. And you got it where Chihiro says, the seal is broken. So Mr. Samura must be remembering everything too. But he won't come here because he's on a mission to kill all the other contractors, all the sword bearers. And I'm like, I don't know if he would choose that over seeing his daughter. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he would choose that over his daughter. I'm going to be real with you. But you got it where she's like, remembering everything that happened. She's sad, she's struggling. She wanted to get stronger. She wanted her feelings to reach her father. But after all this time, she still wasn't able to reach him. But next thing you know, it jumps to Hiko as well as Todo, as he's saying, like, Chihiro will draw his sword. He hasn't used it all this time, so there had to be a reason why. And of course, we know the reason being that Chihiro hasn't perfected his sword style to be a match for Samura. But now that he has mastered this, the white style, there's a chance that he could stand a chance against Samura. Not saying he will, but you got it with Chihiro. You got it what Iori says, like, even if it's just for a moment, she wants to see her father. And you got it where Chihiro grants her wish by pulling his enchanted blade. At the same time, you got it where Hiko is pulling his enchanted blade. Next thing you know, you see feathers fall from the sky. And you got it where your boy Samura is floating there with the crow wings, and he pulls out his enchanted blade. Man, this shit was just a crazy ass chapter, yo. So I'm curious how the next chapter is going to be. Is it going to be like a three-way battle? Is it going to be like 2-on-1? Like, I'm very curious what's going to happen. It's crazy because it's feeling like Hiko may be taken out because Samura is here now, or maybe Chihiro might actually be able to defeat Samura. We don't know which way this is going to go. And this proves that he values his daughter's safety over taking down the sword bearers, because Chihiro said that he would go to protect, he would go to finish his mission, which was to take out the sword bearers. But no, he came here to see his daughter. His memories are back and he doesn't want to lose her. He doesn't want her to suffer for his sins. So he is here to wreck shop. That's why I think he may actually team up with Chihiro to take down Hiko, even though I don't think he needs to, but that might be the case. But we do know Hiko is a prodigy. He is a genius. So he might stand a fair chance against Samura. But then again, he is heavily wounded from his battle with, Chihiro. So who knows how this is going to go, man. But one thing I got to say, where the hell is Shiba? Where the hell is your girl Yuki? Where the hell is your boy Hakuri? I know he's recovering, but damn, bro, how much time you need, But maybe Yura might show up to the battlefield. Because now that I think about it, it's not just Hiko they got to worry about. Your boy Kaguri is there as well. Even though he doesn't have an enchanted blade, he is there as well. So it's a lot that can possibly happen in the next chapter. But I'm curious to hear y'all thoughts, man. This shit was goated. Sorry the video ran a little long, but yo, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.